Okay, what's going on, guys? It is Oakley. It's going to be our very first episode of Barely Legal. Today we have 5 stocks to go over before market open on Monday. And of course, if you guys know me and my trading style, the first thing we're going to talk about is SPY. Favorite thing to trade. Not a whole lot to see on SPY, other than the fact that it's been trading in this bullish channel. So you can see here, it's been doing this for the last 90 days. We've not had any significant pullbacks outside of this channel or any bullish runs up over the channel in the last 90 days. So I would have to say for SPY, just don't fight the trend on the day. Whatever it kind of seems like it's going to do on that day, just roll with it, right? Because we've not had any significant runs, no significant pullbacks. I would look personally, it's like if you're wanting a play for, a week or so out, wait for SPY to either test one of these upper levels or these lower levels. And these are parallel. So this bottom and this top they're the exact same line, just in different locations, the same angle and everything. So your best bet would be to wait and play a bounce off of one of these levels. I'll show you what I mean here if I can find my circle. Right, so you could have played from here all the way down to here, right? And vice versa. You could have played from down here all the way up to here. So that's kind of what I've been looking at with SPY. As we trade kind of in the middle here, I try my best not to take any swing trades, just kind of focus more on the daily intraday trades and things like that. But if we ever do meet either of these parameters, either the upper or the lower, I'll play the opposite side. So that's kind of where I'm at with SPY. Nothing crazy. Like I said, it's been 90 days of an uptrend. I do, my bias is towards downside eventually. We are going to have to break this and have some type of pullback. But until that day happens, I'm not going to fight the trend. Just going to let it happen. Moving on, second one I have here on my notes, I have ExxonMobil. Okay. Exxon has earnings coming up in the middle of April. What's this say here? April 26th, right? So Exxon has earnings in about a month. It is trending upward, and it is kind of pushing towards this 120, 119 level that we've hit multiple times. Okay. So my thought process here is that we will probably continue to trend up into earnings. We'll probably hit that 120, 119 range. And then I would have to guess, so Exxon, the price of Exxon and XLE for that matter as well, but the price for Exxon kind of directly correlates with the price of fuel in the U.S. And so given that it is an election year, I would expect Exxon to reject that 120 level and probably make a push back down for this like mid-90s area, probably by November, which I mean, that's a long way out, but you could probably play some long-dated puts post earnings would be my idea. Is that after earnings on the 24th, then we can start looking at some puts, because I believe, being an election year, we're going to start trending downwards as the price of fuel comes down, and then they can use that as a talking point for elections. So that's where I'm at with Exxon. I'm not going to play the upside run on it into earnings. I'll just wait until after earnings before we can start playing downside. But that's where I'm at with Exxon. Same kind of goes for Amazon here. So Amazon found support right here, all right, right around the 165 range. It jumped up on earnings, on really good earnings here, and it's held that level multiple times. So I don't see us going anywhere near or under 165 for the time being. I would expect us to probably heading into earnings. There's also in May. In April. There's the 25th of April. I would expect us to probably push towards COVID highs. Amazon was booming during COVID, and so these are our COVID highs back here. And I do think that we will start to see that push back for COVID highs pre-earnings. Um, you know, I do expect Amazon to beat earnings. They normally do. They do pretty well at that. But I just don't know how much higher it can go. Outside of online retail, they also have their cloud computing services, and AWS is probably I would probably say the second biggest cloud service provider. Don't quote me on that, but I'm sure it's very large. So they get a lot of money from things outside of retail. So something to watch on Amazon. You could play the earnings run up, right? You could probably play, I don't know, middle of April calls for like 185. I'm sure those are kind of pricey, but I'm sure that they would hit. I do expect us to see 189 to 190 pre-earnings. Let's see. Oh, I just also have notated here on Amazon the same as Exxon. Once we do hit all-time highs, post or pre or post earnings, I will be looking at a put position to play these back down, probably towards 165. Next on my list, I have AMD. So AMD has had a rough couple weeks right here. It's had a pretty big slide. I don't keep up with like the politics of semiconductors, like Nvidia, SMCI, things of that nature. I don't keep up with the politics of them. I just kind of like to play the technicals. And here on AMD, we've held this support right down here multiple times, right around 160. We've held on to that number pretty well. The upper side of that channel there was right around 180. And so I do have my long entry right around 180. I would like to see us again heading into earnings. I know we've said that a couple times, but heading into earnings, I would like to see AMD start pushing back towards all-time highs. I think that would be healthy. It's had a really good pullback, and I do expect it to. I 100% expect it to beat earnings. I know they missed last time, but I expect them to beat this time, and I do expect them to push back towards all-time high. So I would just look for it to hold on to like 180, 181, and then make a push back for the upside. Okay, our next stock that I have notated, this is a big one. So this is UPS. I don't know if you guys have seen the news. I could pull up some articles here. Let me continue to back this up. So this is in a descending wedge here. They do have earnings in the middle of April. It looks like the 23rd they have earnings, but the news that has come out about FedEx and the news that's come out with USPS, they're cutting cost rapidly. They're laying people off. They're closing locations. They are. It's just not looking good. They're already on a downtrend. Even when they beat earnings, they're dropping significantly, which it says they beat, but their revenues missed by $500 million. Anyway, so heading into earnings, I do expect us to see downside on UPS. So I would be looking at, I don't know, probably 125 puts for just before earnings, something of that nature. Maybe even at post earnings, you could be looking at like 120, 118 puts post earnings. I think that would be okay. It's just shipping in general has had some really bad news in the last little bit, so something to keep an eye on with UPS. Just heading into earnings, I do expect us to see some significant downside. The last one I do have here on my list, I see I have a couple notifications up there. We'll get to those after. This is MT. So this is a British I think they're British. They're somewhere over in Europe. But this is the largest steel producer in the world. Kind of the same idea. We have earnings the very 1st of August. We're trading within, we've kind of tested this bottom support a couple times, and this upper resistance, it's been tested multiple times on MT. But this is more of a sympathy play, right? So MT, I think, is a great stock. But the reason that I have faith in MT is not actually for MT. It has a nice price for it at $27. The two stocks that give me faith in MT, we can take a look at New. So New in the last year, we can do this here. So let's just measure this out. So going back to, we'll just go to COVID lows, right? So March of 2020 to now, New Core is up almost 600%. Looks pretty healthy. There's been they've had, good big runs, they've had big pullbacks, but for the most part, they're on an uptrend, and they don't plan on stopping anytime soon. New is also a steel producer, so they do the exact same thing as MT, they just don't produce as much. And then lastly, it's not called SCHN anymore. All right, well, we'll pass on SCHN, but just know there are other steel producers that are doing extremely well for the time being. They're on a big uptrend. I don't see us pulling back anytime soon. I expect New to beat earnings in April, and if they beat theirs in April, I'm sure MT will beat theirs in August. So that's all I have for this week. Like I said, this is going to be short and sweet. I already think it's a little longer than I anticipated, but anyway, that's where I'm at with my weekly watch list. So let me hop back over here and see what we have as far. Okay, just a friend request. Okay, well then, if no one has any questions, I see some people are saying they've had a couple issues. I tend to always have issues when I run on this free channel. I don't know why, but if you guys are having issues, I'll start streaming this on YouTube rather than through the Discord here, if that's going to be better. I know we lost my train of thought there. I've not had great luck with streaming on the Discord, so I will just seeing at these here. We'll probably stream these on YouTube next week. So Amazon, the news with Nvidia. I don't know, Merchant. I haven't looked at any. I don't really look at news for the most part. I try to stay away from news. It can make or break a trade, but it's hard to keep up with it all. So I just try to stick to the technicals when it comes to that thing. Let's see. Yeah, Talik, I do think that's what's going to happen with the transports. No, I'm not in any of these trades yet. So just looking at everything that we went over, no, I'm not in any of these yet. So with AMD here, that the chart there that you're seeing is just that was my trade idea. If we hold over 180, we should see some upside. So yeah. Okay, guys. Well, I'm gonna end the recording. Again, if you have any questions, just shoot me a DM. That's gonna be the easiest way to get over to me. I trade on Robinhood, Merchant. But yeah, if you guys need anything, or if you have any questions pertaining to anything that we talked about today, just make sure to shoot me a message, and we'll go over it. So anyway, thanks guys, appreciate it. See ya.